we're still kind of getting our wheels spinning on Facebook. And now there's four or five other platforms that are yet to be tapped effectively.
Before we jump into today's episode, I just want to remind you guys that the biggest affiliate marketing event in the world is back for 2025. It is Affiliate Summit West, and it is going down February 3rd through February 5th in Las Vegas. Guys, if you want to meet and hang out with 7,000 of the world's top advertisers, affiliates, publishers, sellers, tech providers, networks, all in one place, you have to be at Affiliate Summit West. And right now, as a listener of the Boost podcast, they are hooking you up with 15% off of your ticket. Just use the code BOOST15. That is BOOST15 when you register. Save 15% on your ticket. The link is below and in the description to grab your ticket. Now, guys, Affiliate Summit West is the home of affiliate marketing because after all, 76% of affiliates prefer Affiliate Summit West over any other event. I'll be there. I hope to see you there. Use the code BOOST15. Save 15%. Now, let's jump into today's episode. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Greg Rollett, and welcome to The Boost. I am really excited for my next guest, Jessica Sieb, who has some incredible experience here. BuzzFeed, Rolling Stone. Now you are kind of a commerce consultant, free agent, if you will.
Free agent. Very exciting times. I didn't think I was going to go to another publisher after BuzzFeed. So took a bet, learned a lot about search, learned a lot about a legacy magazine. And I'm kind of ready to take on the space as a free agent. So
I love that. And we're going to kind of get into your mind a little bit about content commerce, but some context, like just tell us a little bit about your journey. Like, how did you get into this space? What led you to BuzzFeed and kind of what excites you today about content commerce?
Yeah, I actually, prior to BuzzFeed, I worked in traditional media. I was planning paid campaigns or paid activations for NBC News and MSNBC, CNBC properties. A lot of that it was a lot of money. And a lot of that was tied to media efficiency. So we wanted to make sure that anything that we purchased in market was driving tune-in. And that was like advanced level attribution and conversion from billboards, television ads, digital properties, custom content, podcast placements, to what really drove butts and seats in front of televisions for specific shows, like not even just the channel, but Nightly News with Lester Holt, like Morning Brew or whatever, Morning
Joe.
I forget. Morning Joe. Yes. I'm like, I forget all the networks. Yeah, one of the shows, all the very, very many shows that we planned for, but it was advanced attribution. And then this job opportunity opened up at BuzzFeed. I had some friends who were working there. They're like, this is a cool new team. They're driving retail commerce. They're focused on attribution online. And I was like, oh, cool. What's better than news television, especially after the 2016 election, like driving shopping. Shopping felt more lowbrow, attainable. It was a consumer behavior that I was familiar with. You could see real life action, like putting something online that resulted in a sale, a product that someone got in their home that you felt that they enjoyed, not just like billboard to a channel that you're watching at night. Right. So it felt more tangible. And I was excited to kind of take my learnings from the advertising world, apply it to this affiliate commerce industry. And I was shocked to find that the two were so separate. And so one is far more advanced than the other. Like, I feel like the affiliate industry is still very nascent. And there's a lot of technologies that haven't yet caught up with in standards that haven't caught up with the traditional advertising world. Like there's the IAB board that oversees all advertising campaigns and is kind of the golden standard for how you operate in the traditional advertising world. And then there's affiliate, which is kind of like for lack of a better word, red-haired stepchild.
Still the Wild West.
West, of like the teams typically report into the marketing team and the CMO at these large retail companies, but the budgets are considered a lot different. Some brands still see it as like taboo marketing. It's like, oh, I don't want to cheapen the brand by, doing this like pay to play or commission-based incentive advertising. So there's still a lot of education to be had there, and in turn, a lack of investment, I'd say, from marketers, from technology companies, a lot to be learned from the advertising world. And that was, 2017, I joined BuzzFeed at a time where it was still very much like unestablished. Like paid placements were still like, how do we barter these? How do we measure performance? How do we price? Or like, what are analytics? What are efficiencies? Like, how do you measure the success of a program? And so I was able to help kind of be at the very forefront of establishing what that was. And at a very large publisher that had a lot of social traffic, so we had a lot of learnings at baseline that we could go off of, and it was very fun to double down on that and kind of extrapolate those learnings and grow the program to be as big as it was or is. It was a great time. It was also interesting to then shift to a search optimized publisher and learn how competitive that space was. I think we didn't realize how unique BuzzFeed was in its position of capitalizing on social traffic and being one of the first publishers to really play in that space and still dominate
understand it and pioneer in many ways.
Yes, act as a pioneer in that space, and still, even 5 years later, so many publishers are still trying to catch up, and that was like primarily Facebook traffic.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we're still kind of getting our wheels spinning on Facebook, and now there's four or five other platforms that are yet to be tapped effectively, which presents itself as a huge amount of opportunity. We're finding that, while search intent is great, younger shoppers are starting their purchase journeys on Pinterest, on Reddit, on TikTok. Yeah, like a ton of, even YouTube, a ton of other platforms where they're receiving inspiration for purchasing products, even Instagram, purchasing products, and they're looking for this like secondary research that typically comes from word of mouth or from an influencer or from a conglomeration of several people that they've seen this product being used by in the wild, and then they're applying that to their purchase journey. Like whatever avenue is quote unquote last touch, it's less likely that it's a publisher in today's day and age, unless you're one of those brands who is strategically activating on those spaces and reminding them like, hey, that blow dryer that you've been trying to save up for, like reminder to buy it, it's Prime Day, or reminder it's on sale at Nordstrom.
So where can publishers play in that space, right? Because they're not traditionally like YouTube short first or Pinterest first, or so like the first time a shopper's seeing about a product, they're not hearing about it from a publisher. Yeah. They're hearing about it from another human or an influencer or the brand itself. So how do publishers even fit into that role?
I think there was a huge priority for video content at a point in time where everyone was like trying to be the first to explore YouTube. Like we can get tons of views, a huge audience, like Tasty, for example, BuzzFeed is a huge property that, grabs a bunch of people.
Remember when that launched, it changed the game,
changed the game for recipes and quick and easy things that you can actually do at home, empowering people to say, hey, look, here's this thing that you can do that's relatively easy. You just need to watch the short form video and maybe you can create something just as magical at home. Same with Bring Me. I mean, we were trying to figure out the connection between this, which was probably much further ahead of its time. But Bring Me used to have lines wrapped around the block for businesses in New York. There was, I forget the name of the sundae, the big stacked milkshakes. I don't even know if the restaurant is in business anymore, but when we ran the video, there were these massive milkshakes that had cotton candy swirls. They were just very Instagrammable lines wrapped around the block. And they have
still those in Orlando because we just took our kids there, and it's the greatest thing. Of all time.
I think, what is it, Black Tap or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Black Tap Burger, and they have their milkshakes. Also the cookie dough ice cream, dough. That was another thing that was revolutionary that we highlighted. And again, traffic around the block just to wait and get this unique phenomenon that blew up on the internet. Again, there wasn't a tangible revenue exchange that to be had between the restaurant and a publisher at the time, but it just goes to show the impact of reach and scale and commoditizing a product that's unique and interesting. And we saw those signals very early on. Again, the connection for monetizing that doesn't make it a sustainable content source yet, but we're finding that, okay, maybe not a video, but for a certain product. If you have something, what is it? There's a ear cleaning device where it has a camera on the end and you can see the earwax. It's disgusting to think about in concept, but people see it and they're like, ooh, gross, but I kind of want to try it and it's cheap and I can buy it very quickly on Amazon. Those types of things are products that show and present an opportunity that content doesn't really tell the story as well. You want to see how the product is working. You want to see it in real life. If it's via an influencer, if it's via a Pinterest, compare and contrast, if it's a quick YouTube video, figuring out how to convert and communicate with your audience in different ways outside of content. Content is the cheapest because it's easy to write. It doesn't require anyone in front of camera. Reduction quality is, it's still words on a page. It's not having to have a camera. It's not having to have all these assets. I think we're finding that creators need less. Like, you don't need a massive production studio to run your own like product influencer page, right? You can have an iPhone. And so figuring out how to work faster and create content, that is a bit more, it's just a bit scrappier, but in kind of like the old days of BuzzFeed kind of spinning up things on the internet, figuring out how to communicate with people in ways that match the current pulse of social currency. And that's kind of where we're seeing trends take consumers. Even Reddit, it's another format that is written, but it's based on recommendations and contributing to community forums, finding places where there are niche interest, a lot of traffic where people have a significant problem that they're hoping to solve. That's a place where a publisher could serve as like an expert advice columnist, like saying, hey, we've written this post about this at length, but a few things that our readers or reviewers have found helpful for treating this skin condition, or for if you have difficult, like dry skin in the winter, like these are products that work best for solving this, are recommended by dermatologists, are, based on feedback from our readers. Like, those are spaces that I think we can be a bit more creative about how we communicate, and, don't be so hi, fellow children, like, but, hi, we're brand, or hi, we're a publisher, and kind of servicing those communities a bit better.
So how do we balance things like true editorial versus advertising, brands coming in and just paying for spots, versus performance, right? So affiliate side, because they're all three people want the attention of these publishers. Publishers only have so much space or resources or time. So how does that balance work? And obviously we're us coming from the performance space, like we want to get a leg up, a leg in. How do we get that leg up and leg in with publishers?
I think, well, first, any content creator is going to have a really healthy audience content suite by writing authentically, writing about things you love, writing about things that genuinely benefit your life, that add value to your audience's experience with your page. Like, even if you don't make any money from it, giving them ideas and recommendations that are going to add value to their life is number one. That's how you build trust. That's how people want to keep coming back. They're going to remember that, oh, hey, I got a face wash that completely changed like my skincare routine by this one person. I want to buy everything else they're doing because they clearly know what they have going on. Brands can come into that and kind of act as an additive layer. Like, okay, you like this one CeraVe, face wash. CeraVe wants to come in and sponsor, your Get Ready With Me, like branded content series. And you can feature more of their products, being transparent, dividing the line of like, this is what I truly recommend as a content creator versus this is what I'm recommending as a part of this branded partnership. Still love them, still advocate for the brand, but here are additional things that I might not have tried. And keeping that line of delineation, I think, is important. But also saying, hey, this is a person or a brand that supports my ability to create content and provide these recommendations for you, and being transparent about that relationship. In terms of brands who are trying to optimize within that ecosystem and drive performance, one, pay attention to who is organically driving traffic for you. Like, where are you seeing strong signals for their audience? Where do you see a way through? You see a pulse from a Rolling Stone or a BuzzFeed every so often. Ask, hey, do you know where this is coming from? What are you writing about? How can we amplify what you're already doing, or incentivize you via commission rates, via paid placements, to do more of what you like already? Because it all comes down to resources, and every team has a finite amount of resources that they can do. If they had 1 million hours in every day, I'm sure they'd write a ton or create tons of content about the products that they love. But sometimes you're kind of bartering with, okay, I have to get my bills paid and I have to write this content series for these people, this product that I love. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm, prioritizing the most efficient placements that make sense for the audience, but also make sense for, maximizing personal revenue so that you can continue keeping the operation afloat. Some publishers and some content creators get caught within a crux of, I just need to make money. So they're going to prioritize the lowest hanging fruit, whatever's giving them dollars. And that's where you run the risk of compromising your authenticity. And it's very obvious to viewers and readers when that happens. So then you kind of shoot yourself in the foot because people might not trust your recommendations as much. So it's all about striking that tough balance of understanding and staying true to what your audience appreciates and what that you can authentically recommend to them, whether it's a great product or, your audience is going to love it. It's a category that they enjoy, and doubling down on that and expanding upon that strategically, not outside of the bounds of which you're comfortable with. And that is, I think, the line that everyone has difficulty walking, especially right now when there are traffic challenges, there are platform changes that are hindering certain programs. Like, you want to try everything and throw paint at the wall. You want to accept every dollar, but you do have to remain honest and stay true to yourself, and also be honest with your partners, because you never want to take money that you can't return on honestly or transparently say, hey, this might just be a test and we need to see how it works. But yeah, I think it is a balance, a juggling act.
It's always a balance. And like, it's interesting because like as a small creator, an independent creator, you can kind of make those decisions. It's more black and white, right? Because you maybe only need 2 or 3 sponsors to support your podcast or your show, but a BuzzFeed needs to sell thousands of products to serve all the team, the employees, this like the overhead, like everything else. And so those lines get blurred differently, I think, at size and scale, don't they? At
scale, for sure. And so it becomes more mechanical. You're also serving just a much larger audience. And so you have so much data to go off of. You want to make it as easy as possible for your readers and your consumers to, purchase the things that they love. And then you have like a much larger data set to go off of. It's no secret that a lot of specifically shoppers online have Amazon Prime accounts. And so it's so much easier for them to one-click buy, one-click convert.
Right.
They're more likely going to purchase something if they know they already have an account and it's going to arrive at their doorstep in 2 days than they are from a direct-to-site retailer where they have to enter in all their information again manually. They don't know when it's going to arrive. They're less familiar with the site. Does this come to my email? Did I enter in all my information or correctly? Every step that's added is a deterrent for their conversion. And so writers are often very aware of that. They know which retailers have the lowest barrier to entry.
Right.
And when you're operating at scale in that manner, you oftentimes have to prioritize, writing for the retailers that the audience is most comfortable with. But again, that presents a huge risk. And so it is always important for you to have some level of diversity and prioritize that diversity, but that diversity can't come at an opportunity cost to the business. And so it's a fine balance. People do find creative ways to do it. Like if there are products sold on multiple places or multiple retailers, they can include multiple links, like buy here, here, or here, and you kind of make your choice. That way you're not losing out on the conversion for the larger retailer, but you also are giving the smaller brand or the independent brand a chance at winning that sale. And even if giving them some visibility, some free advertising and free promotion if they don't get the conversion. So there are thoughtful ways to go about it. It's just how much of a priority is that to the content creator and how much of that is core to their ethos. And I think BuzzFeed did a really good job of threading that line.
Yeah. So long time ago, Stone Age in the internet years, like 7 years ago, Grommet was running a lot through BuzzFeed, and you were the affiliate manager back then. And so it also rides that line of like, we want to support small, we want to support independent makers. We want to find the new thing that not everyone is talking about. And you're right. There is like that balance of like, I want to help these people, but I also have core metrics of the business. And so it's always this like juggling act, if you will.
Yeah.
Where do you want to see this industry go? Right. So as you're talking to publishers now, on the commerce consulting side, where do you want to help them get to?
I think I do want to see a conversion of content to new platforms. I want to see publishers, like, it feels like they're constantly being pushed with very few resources and very minimal amounts of investment to crack new platforms, to crack new content types, to show up in new places. Like you're kind of forced to be a chameleon of your environment and go where the traffic is going constantly, which requires new investment, new talent, new ways of thinking all of the time. Is if you want to keep up and stay afloat. I think figuring out a solution for helping publishers adapt their content more quickly, and maybe it's a testing, like a content farm, or maybe it's a lab where, people test a bunch of formats and then help people kind of adapt, or help publishers adapt their content to new formats faster. Like there's an expert layer that kind of distills the best practices, I think is probably previously it was BuzzFeed and we kind of set the standard and everyone was following us. But I don't always think it has to be a publisher. Maybe it's like an industry overlay that then distills best practices and helps a variety of publishers adapt to the audiences that they're able to find on those platforms. Separately with brands and retailers, I would love some retail diversity. I think there are a lot of really great large retailers who are doing really great thoughtful work and working with small brands and making sure that their product representation in store kind of encapsulates a variety of product ownership and diversity, and they're doing a lot of great things in their community, but even still, they're still really large retail conglomerates, and you don't want to see the mom and pop stores close down. You do want to support the people who are making homemade soaps, and selling them from their grandma's garage in Arizona. You want to make sure that you're still able to invest in those types of businesses, and I think there isn't yet a marketplace that does that prioritizes it entirely besides the grommet. Like
hopefully that's what we're doing. Hopefully that's what we're doing. Yeah.
And there's a bunch of shops that have done that in the past, but not yet at scale. Yeah. And I think not yet as like the overarching marketplace for small businesses that you can go to as an authority, and it's as easy as Amazon, right? You're going to shop there, it's going to come within a reasonable amount of time. The customer service is consistent. You trust making purchases from those places, and it's more of a discovery engine. Like not just Amazon, we all know, is a very overwhelming place to shop. That's why a lot of the consumers that purchase from there do seek out content for those types of recommendations. Same thing with another platform. What is the best new small business product that I need to be thinking about this week? What's trending? What are people's reviews? Like, how do you qualify that? Because Amazon has great thousands of reviews on most of their products. How do you qualify that it's good? And if you're not, starting your purchase journey on search with, it's hard to find like cool and interesting. No one thinks to do, what's the cool, interesting thing that I should be buying right now on search, right? That's BuzzFeed's lane. You surprise and delight on social. Is there a marketplace that helps you do that? Like inherently, you can start your purchase journey by, it's a online, like a merchandised, online, like the last lane at Target when you're done shopping, and then there's all of the aisles of the things that you don't need that are right next to the cash registers, and you throw a bunch of them in your cart because you at the last minute need these like $5 items. That's what I think the internet is missing.
Well, challenge accepted.
Yeah. And I know you guys are doing
that's the lane that we want to play, but you're right. Like it's the scale, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, how does every shopper online know to look at, in our case, Grommet or whatever this platform is? Yeah.
Like when you want an interesting gift, when you want something that's going to act as a pick-me-up, like you haven't bought something that's, triggered that dopamine receptor in a while. And you don't want to, I am trying to be mindful of how much time I spend on social media and on TikTok. And I don't want that to be the only place where I discover new things or learn new things. I want to, have my news articles and let them be news articles. Like this is when I'm consuming art and culture and news. And then I want, products and shopping to be products and shopping. Like I want to have my different lanes and places that I go to for very specific things. So I'm conscious of how I'm being kind of sucked into the vacuum, or a bit more conscious and thoughtful. So yeah, I think having a retailer that I know reliably merchandise their site in that way, and was, again, the shipping components, the consumer components were reliable, would be phenomenal. And it would honestly be worlds beyond anything that most consumers have available to them today, which I'm excited about. I'm obviously very excited about the things that you guys are working on.
Yeah, well, I'm very excited that you're excited about that space in general and where we're playing. For those that are watching right now, they want to connect with you, especially now that you're a free agent.
Yeah.
What are some of the best places to connect with you, maybe learn more and have some conversations with you?
LinkedIn is usually, I'm glad to exchange some messages on LinkedIn. I also give out my personal email relatively liberally. So hit me up over an email. And then if you're in New York, or I travel quite a bit, down to grab coffee, lunch, and chat in person. I love these conversations. So if they interest anyone in the audience, please feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I can nerd out on this like all day. So thank you so much for hanging out. Enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks so much for being here on The Boost.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.